Why, hello there. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Lita and you are watching Art with Lita. Today, I'm going to be making a horse and I'm going to be using my Derwent Graphitint pencils. These are absolutely wonderful pencils. They go down beautifully, and once you apply the water, they become very smooth and they're just a joy to work with, really. I am working in my Stillman and Birn sketchbook as usual. This is the paper I prefer, and I usually will choose a Stillman and Birn sketchbook whenever I can. This is not the final piece in my sketchbook, but it's one of the last ones. So keep your eyes open because I will be doing a sketchbook tour soon. So keep your eyes open. I've decided to go through and add in all my shadows first. Now, whenever I work with any type of soluble pencil like watercolor or graphite pencils that are water soluble, I always work in sections. So I will put down the color for a section and then I go through and I go over it with the water, and then I start with the pencils on the next section. That way each section has time to dry by the time I get back to it, and I don't need to break out my blow dryer. It works for me, and it might work for somebody else too, now that you know. I'm adding down the shadows first, and I'm keeping them nice and gray. And then I'm planning on going over it in color, and I haven't really done it this way before. Usually I add the color first and then I slowly deepen my shadows, but I just wanted to see if I can maybe get a better result this way, because I know that the colors that I add on top are going to tint these shadows, and maybe it'll come out looking a little bit more natural, or I don't know. I love experimenting and trying different things. So I'm trying something different. The reference photo is from Karen Bromelsick, I believe. She is found on Facebook. She's a photographer, and she has a page where she allows artists to use her photos as long as you give her credit. And she has some of the best horse reference photos I have ever seen, and I highly recommend you check her out. I'm going to leave a link to her work and to her page in the description below, along with a list of the various art supplies that I've been using. the shadows and the lighting in the reference photo were just amazing. And I can see myself coming back to this particular reference photo again and again and trying different colors and different things and different combinations just to see what I can come up with. It can be fun to do that sort of thing. He gave me the impression that he was a very powerful, very proud horse. Now, the Derwent Graphitint, it does have a black in it, but it really does come across like more of a gray. Maybe you could get a true black color if you did a bunch of layers. I know that bothers some people about this set. It doesn't particularly bother me because I really don't work with the color black much anyways. I very rarely use it. Usually if I'm going for a dark color, I'm going to choose a dark purple or a dark blue or something to get in my darks. Just because I love things to be colorful, and it's just my thing. I do know that another gripe some artists have with this set is that there's not a true yellow, and usually if you're adding the white sunlight, or the bright highlights, people will either use the light of the paper or they're going to go with some very bright colors like bright yellow or even bright green. So I know that fellow artists have not been too crazy about the fact that there's not really a super bright color. Now, I figured I could get around that by taking the green color that they have in this set. And since I am going to be using brown, some of the reddish browns in the set for his overall color, I figure that by adding a bright or brighter green for my highlights will result in something that does look on the yellow side and will be acceptable as a nice bright pop of color. I'm going in and I'm adding the next layer of shadow. I do add a few different layers as I go along and I slowly deepen things. Whenever you're working with pencils, any type of pencils, it doesn't matter what they are, always work in layers. Keep your layers light and just keep on adding those layers. It can make pencil work kind of slow, and I know some people don't like it for that reason, but it's just something you have to be aware of going in, and just put on your favorite music and get to work on those layers. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I must say he already looks awfully nice just in gray. What if I did a version of him where he was, all the shadow colors were done in just in a gray color the way it is now, and then I went and I erased out the lines where he's in bright sunlight. That way you would only be getting certain portions of him that are visible at all. I think that might be awfully fun. You know, I might try that. I don't know if I'll film it or not, but I might try that just to see what it looks like. You can see that I'm not being too careful about the way I put down the lines. You know, these colors blend out beautifully with water, so I'm not overly concerned about how they're going or which direction they're going. I'm just trying to get the color down. That is the nice thing about water-soluble pencils, whether they're, Graphitint pencils, watercolor pencils, is that you don't have to be too precious about how those lines go down. And I must say, every single time I get them out to use them, I am amazed again and again by just how nice it is once you put that color down, how it just all dissolves, and it's actually just very satisfying and just a pleasure to work with. All right, we're finally getting to some color here, and there you can see the green color I was talking about. It's not that bright, although it does brighten up a bit once I apply the water, but it just looks very nice next to the brown. I know that the Graphitint set isn't that big. It's only it's only 24 colors. But, working with a limited set can be a good thing because it forces you to use your imagination and come up with combinations and palettes that you might not think of otherwise. I mean, I would have never in a million years thought that I'd be sitting down and making a horse that is brown and green, and yet here I am doing it because there's no other bright colors in the set. So it can be a good thing. It can stretch you and help you learn and grow as an artist if you just limit yourself once in a while. You can see that color brighten up nicely as I apply the water, and it's really fascinating how when I start to go in with the brown, it actually starts to look a little bit more yellow than it even is. The brightest highlights in this horse's coat, I have left white, just to add even a bit more contrast. And just give it a quick shot with a blow dryer so that it can be nice and dry. There's the very first brown color, and I do spend a bit of time just going back and forth between the brown and the gray and the different things. But I think he's neat. This is a neat horse. See what a beautiful color that is? I mean, come on, that's gorgeous. When working with any type of water-soluble pencils, you do have to make sure that it is fully dry between layers. Otherwise, they might start mixing, or even worse, it might start tearing up your paper. So always just be careful. Make sure it's dry. Keep a blow dryer around if you have. You see how that gray color that I initially put down is now just darkening the brown, and it's not really coming across as a true gray anymore. It's pretty cool, huh? And in the end, I'm going through and I'm adding lots of gold around the edges because I thought it just went well with just the colors of the horse. And I decided not to do any color at all in the background and just have this horse silhouetted against a bright white background. And I thought that looked really neat and really brought out the colors in the horse. I must say this Graphitint is quite a pleasure to work with. I do enjoy them a lot. I don't know why I don't get them out more often to work with. I think I am intimidated by the limited palette. But like I said, it can really stretch you and force you to grow as an artist. So I need to be taking some of my own advice and working more with limited palettes and seeing what I can come up with. Anyways, that's all I have for now. Be blessed. Lita out.